Hi, this is Keith with How to Build Your Own Home, and I want to talk straight just for a little bit about general contractors. I get probably 2 to 3 emails or messages that go like something like the following. Hey, dear Keith, I like your videos. I'm in stressed situation. I got a contractor we hired, and we found out that he overcharged us $30,000, or walked off with $40,000, or this or that, or he's not using the right. Really, really horrific stories. I got one just yesterday, where the contractor overbilled them over $35,000, double billed them on several things, resubmitted the same invoice, stuff like that. And even though they're working with the bank, even the bank didn't catch it. A lot of banks aren't very sophisticated with owner builders or even the whole construction process, especially if you're not in a high build area. They're just not attuned. They just assume that the general contractor knows what he's doing and is doing everything right. Not all general contractors are the same. We've all heard the stories out there of some really, really bad general contractors. In fact, I started this whole series with my very first video I ever did. It was the 5 reasons why you should not hire a general contractor. If you haven't seen that video, it's the very first one I did on this channel, and it's got over 50,000 views. I got a lot of general contractors really mad at me. A lot of them said, well, owner builders don't know what they're doing, and general contractors know what they're doing, and it's kind of a bad mistake to not hire one. And then I had some general contractors that chimed in that kind of supported what I was saying and whatnot. So the story I'm trying to get at is there's some bad elements out there, and then there's some good elements out there. There's some really good general contractors out there, and I love them to death, and I know a lot of those, and they work hard at what they try to do. And then there's some that are not very good at what they do. They kind of fell into the trade or fell into general contracting, and they really, really don't know the full spectrum of building a home. How do you know the difference? How do you know that you're going into a situation that is a really good situation, that you're in good hands? That takes a little bit of experience. But one thing I'm going to stress on how to avoid a bad situation, and that is to network. And I've said this before, and I'll say it over again. Talk, ask around. If you are going to hire somebody in your business, you would get referrals, you would contact people, you would see their portfolio, you would see what they've done, and you'd get a really good beat on who they are. One of the best places I've found to know how good a person is how their employees talk about them. If their employees like working for them and they talk in rave reviews about them, that's a good sign too. You have to dig, you have to really get into the nitty and gritty of things. But a couple of things I want to give you some advice. Never give a whole chunk of money to a general contractor. If that general contractor is asking for a big chunk in advance, walk away from that. Ask to get out of the contract. They don't need money in advance. Nobody needs money in advance, to be honest with you. If it's a roofer or a concrete guy, they may want some advance to buy materials, and I can understand that. And they can ask for 20% or 30% or what have you. But typically a general contractor doesn't need big chunks of money, and then he's going to manage it for you, and you're not going to see everything. You should be in complete control of that budget. That contractor should send you a draw with a draw sheet. Everything's itemized, all the invoices, all the receipts, everything should be transparent. That's a cost plus build. And even though a lot of builders say they're cost plus, they'll just give you an invoice on their sheet, but don't show the back end of where all that's coming from. And I think that's where the biggest problem with some really bad elements in the construction industry happen, is they don't show a full transparency of what the real costs are. They operate like a subcontractor. A subcontractor will say, like a plumbing subcontractor will say, I can do this plumbing for this, and here's the materials and here's the labor, but you don't see their invoices, which is fine. You take the bid the way you want to take it. But a lot of general contractors operate the same way, and that's not good. They should show you the invoice they get from the plumber. They should show you the invoice they get from the lumber yard. They should all be transparent, especially if they're cost plus. And I think that's the biggest mistake that I see a lot of people enter into, is they hire a general contractor because he sounds cool, he tells you what you want to hear, he looks cool, he may have some jobs he's done here and there. I know one contractor he does a lot of high-end builds, but he's not that great. And another piece of advice I'd ask you to consider is there are a lot of general contractors that never go to the job site, to be honest with you. They just never show up. They don't really know what's going on. I get nervous if I don't show up to a job site, at least every day if I possibly can. But they spend all their time at the spreadsheet behind the scenes watching numbers. That's if they're a fixed price. I could go into some real minutia here. I don't want to do that. I just want to give you a really good visual as to the dangers that you could enter into when it comes to a bad general contractor. And that's a fixed price builder and a cost plus builder. A fixed price builder is going to say, I can build that for X, Y, Z, and here's the price, okay? If there's any change, any hiccup on that, then you got to come up with that, and you got to come up with change orders. But you don't see what's going on behind the scenes. That builder spends all his time at the desk, cutting costs, watching costs, and negotiating really cheap everything possibly that they can, because it's coming out of their pocket if there's an overrun, because they've agreed to a fixed price. Commercial construction may enter a fixed price on things, but for the most part, it's danger, Will Robinson, danger. Stay away from fixed price builders, because you really don't know what's really going on behind the scenes. Cost plus is better, but even though cost plus is supposed to be transparent, a lot of builders aren't transparent. They'll just give you a one sheet and here's the cost, here's a draw, and give it to me. Yeah, but where is it coming from? How do I know this is the real cost on things? Can you give me the invoice from the plumber? Can you give me the invoice from the excavator? Can you give me the receipts showing that these things really cost that way? So that's the real trick, is how transparent are they? And before you sign a contract, ask them to show a sample draw sheet, an actual sample draw, and take that to the bank and say to the bank, this is a contractor you want to use. This is the system he uses. This is a sample of the draw that he does. Tell me if there's anything I should look for. It really gets down to that. Their systems, how they operate, how they budget, how they submit everything, their paperwork. Keep in mind, contracting is all about negotiating contracts, spending a lot of time making sure that there's a bid that's good, that the licensure is there, that the insurance and liability are taken care of, that they've got everything else taken care of. There's a lot of that with general contracting. And you want to make sure that they have a really, really good system. If it's just a one-man band and a one person and there's nobody behind the scenes, that's also a big red flag. I love subcontractors who have a back end and a front end. Right now my daughter's running my back end. You don't see her much. I run the front end of things. I'm going on job sites. We're trying to make a switch so I can be in the office more to start creating new content and things that I'm trying to do with other ideas I have with how to build your own home. And I'm trying to make that transition so that I'm working on my business, not in my business. But keep that in mind. There's a lot that I can go to. Please make comments on this video. If you have any questions, I will respond to those. If you're having a nightmare or a difficulty with your general contractor, make a post. I'll respond, give you my best feedback as possibly can. Let's keep this discussion going. But I think that a lot of people really need to know what they're getting into and how to look for red flags and how to look for things that, oh my gosh, that shouldn't have happened. And a lot of builders will tell you what they can build per square foot, and that is a lie. Don't trust that. Not in today's market, not with escalating costs, not when the supply chain issues are the way they are. Don't believe that. I'm a process guy, and the best builders are a process person, process builders. Tell me what you want to build. Let's design it. Let's go through an expense just to at least know what you want to build. And then we're going to figure out what that's going to cost. Roughly the approximate cost is this per square in this market. I can't tell you for sure what it's going to be, but let's go ahead and get it designed. Let's get it engineered. Let's get all your geotech done, and let's go out and get it bid. And once it's bid, you can know what the real cost is at that moment, at least a closer approximation. Don't trust a builder who says they can build it for an XYZ cost. They're lying to you. It's not healthy. Anyway, this video could be called the other reasons why you should not hire a general contractor. I don't want to diss on general contractors. I am one. There's some great ones out there, but there's some things you can look for and be aware of. And I'll probably come back to this subject matter because I keep getting a ton of messages and a ton of emails on this subject. But post your comments below. Let's let this discussion go, and I'll make sure I answer every single one that I can. And I just want you guys to be prepared. It's not a doom and gloom situation out there, but if you're not prepared, you could run into a sand pit. And I don't want that to happen. This is Keith Kelsch with How to Build Your Own Home.